Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome. I see there are a couple of payday candy bars up here on the lectern. I think they must be for me, so. We may think that consensus and harmony are ideal, but without diverse points of view and free thinkers willing to swim against the tide of conformity, changes for the better are less likely to come. Remember RBG? Y'all know who I'm talking about. The Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dissenting opinions may have done more to further justice and equality than her votes with the majority. She was often the lone dissenter, so the positions she took may have seemed pointless when she wrote them. But her eloquent opinions sometimes led to major legislative changes and significant turns in her colleagues' decisions. You know those things that look like doilies that she wore over top of her? I didn't know until I was preparing for being up here this morning that those are called, and somebody correct me if I mispronounce it, jabot. Is that what that thing is called? Jabot. I think it's pronounced jabot. Well, I learned that she had several different collars for different occasions, and one was her I dissent jabot. Whenever she wore that, you knew that she was going to be in the dissent when the opinion was rendered. She wore it to say, I'm different. I'm not willing to just go along. It was a badge of courage, a badge of honor. She was willing to stand up and say, I may be the only one, but I dissent. What about us? Let's sing our first hymn together. It's Come Thou Long Expected Jesus. It's in the Worship and Song Hymnal, page number 53. It's time for us to share announcements, and we'll look first to the folks who are with us on Zoom. Is there anyone online who has an announcement for us? Yes, go ahead.
We are 2 weeks away from Christmas, and Christmas starts our Family Promise Support Week. I have attached a calendar or a pledge, an item pledge list to the wall across from the mailboxes there in the meeting house. So if anybody can sign up for whatever they choose, that would be great, and I will pick them up and then start sending out emails later today. Thanks for everyone.
Thanks for the announcement, and thanks for all that you do to make that successful. Anyone else online?
I'd like to remind friends that next Sunday, December 18th, will be our December monthly meeting for business at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Everyone is invited to attend.
Thank you. Others? If not, how about here in the meeting house? Any other announcements here? Joanne?
Since Chair is back with the kids, I'll go ahead and touch on this. Tonight at 6:30 is the children's program, which is always fun. And then also it will be our candlelight service. So that's part of what defines Christmas at Fairfield. So hope you can all join us.
Someone else?
Just a reminder that we have two significant dates coming up. On Sunday, January the 8th, Rabbis Dennis and Sandy Sasso will be joining us here at 9:30 for a chat to discuss Judaism and the rise of anti-Semitism, not only in our nation, but globally. So please be sure to come and hear what promises to be a very interesting and important talk. On Sunday, February the 5th, Carrie Newcomer will be with us in Meeting for Worship. So mark your calendar. She is a delightful singer, a good Quaker, and is coming here to give us a midwinter boost, which we all need right around the first part of February. Since February 5th is also my birthday, I encourage friends to bring any presents they might want to help celebrate that auspicious day.
Are there other announcements? If not, I'd like to remind everyone that there are various ways that you can support the work here at Fairfield on our website at fairfieldfriends.org. All of those things are outlined. We appreciate and welcome your generosity.
Oh God, we are grateful for the gift of attention. For holding in our hearts and minds those friends and family who are faced with challenges. Remembering also and celebrating with those whose joy is deep. And knowing above all, oh God, that you do the same for us. Attentive always to us, caring deeply for us. Oh God, may we so live our lives. That we are mindful of others and their condition. For those who suffer, O God, and for those who are joyful. For those who are challenged, and for those whose way is easy right now. For those near to us and others far away, oh God, we lift up to you this morning. Amen. I think it's funny, whenever I give a sermon and talk about something specific, people always send me things and leave things up here, or a box will come in the mail and it'll be something that I mentioned in my sermon. This morning I would like to talk about the Ducati Multistrada motorcycle. Well, Christmas is coming up, all those celebrations. It's a week of celebrations for us. We're gathering this evening, as Joanne said, at 6:30 for our children's program and our candlelight circle. The joy continues for our family, with Madeline turning 8 years old this Tuesday. I'm looking forward to that. When Joanne asked her what she wanted for her birthday, Madeline said, an iPad tablet. I was listening from the other room and heard Madeline say she wanted an iPad tablet. The wrong thing to say to a librarian who won't even tolerate a television in our home. I was listening to their conversation and I thought to myself, honey, that ain't gonna happen. I yelled out that what our house needed was a puppy. And Joanne shot that down too. The other day, our son Spencer had an early morning commitment, so he called me late the night before and he said, hey, can you go and pick up Madeline and take her to school? And I said, absolutely, I'll be delighted to do that. So I went and got her, and she came out of their house with her backpack on, clutching a handful of envelopes, which turned out to be invitations to her birthday party, which is being held at an ice skating rink. 8 invitations addressed to certain classmates, kind of her own little posse of girls that she runs with. And it gave me flashbacks from when I was a kid, how I was invariably the 9th child, waiting for the invitation that never came. Because of that painful memory, we never let our children invite just some of their classmates. Instead, we told them Quakers didn't celebrate birthdays, which saved us both money and drama. People say you should never lie to children, but those are the people who never had children. Children would have made George Washington lie. That's what children do. When I first had a child, I said to myself, I will never, ever tell my children a lie, which lasted about a week. Isn't it interesting, though, thinking about Madeline and her friends, how early we gather ourselves into tribes and groups and cliques. Even cows do this. Spencer has this old cow, number 41, that came in his first herd of cattle. He never takes it to market because it's become the boss cow. If he wants to lead 100 cows from one corral to another, he doesn't have to herd every single cow. He only has to call out to number 41, who trots right up to him and follows him wherever he goes, and all the other cows follow number 41. They just fall into line. We're kind of like that, aren't we? You ask someone who they're going to vote for, and many people, Democrat and Republican alike, will say, whoever is representing my party. We fall into line. We do this in religion. A man who attended my old meeting on the east side of Indianapolis once was very mad at me because I refused to tell him what he had to believe. A lot of people just fall into line. And we learn this at a very early age. We're rewarded for it. I've been reflecting this past month on the stuff I want to do before I croak, my geezer manifesto. And today I want to affirm that in my geezer years, I will not fall into line. I will not vote for certain people, believe a certain thing, join forces with certain people just because someone says I must. I will mightily resist what the American sociologist William Wright called groupthink. You've heard that word before, groupthink. Here's the definition. The psychological phenomenon that occurs within a group of people when the desire for harmony or conformity results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision. Groupthink. Groupthink avoids raising controversial issues or alternative solutions, resulting in a loss of creativity and independent thinking. Nothing will enslave and encumber a group of people more effectively and efficiently than groupthink. Groupthink is the parent of every vile and noxious movement in history. Think of the evils around which kindred spirits have gathered. Nazism, racism, sexism, tribalism, anti-Semitism, classism, nationalism, homophobia, each of them a consequence of people affirming an ugly and wicked belief to promote group conformity, going along to get along, groupthink. As I've aged, I've noticed myself dwelling on the more negative aspects of aging. The physical and mental decline, the loss of friends and spouses. I do this so often that sometimes I forget the benefits of aging, and there are very distinct benefits of aging, one of which surely must be the emotional freedom we experience as we age, our capacity for scorn. The other day, a friend of mine over in Danville told me, he saw me at a restaurant, he came up to me and he said, "Hey, that article you wrote for the newspaper made somebody really mad." And he said again, he's really mad at you. And 20 years ago, that would have kept me awake, knowing I had made someone mad. But the other day, I just said, well, that's his issue, not mine. As we age, we develop the capacity for autonomy and the ability to resist emotional coercion. We stop going along to get along. Chatting with Madeline about her birthday party brought back a memory of mine. I think I was in the 4th grade. And my mom told me I could invite 3 of my friends to attend the play Young Abe Lincoln at the Edavine Theater at Christian Theological Seminary. Mom said, "Who do you want to take?" I said, "Well, I want to take Bill and Tim and Ricky." And she said, "I didn't think you liked Ricky. I thought he was mean to you." And I said, "Yeah, but if I don't invite Ricky, he'll talk bad about me to other people." And I just couldn't bear the thought of Ricky doing that. And so I asked him to come to my birthday party. But remembering that moment made me so glad to be a geezer, no longer having to earn the approval of unkind people. In our geezer years, we are free. Our ability to bear the scorn of others permits us to defend the weak and face the bullies. I don't think I've ever spoken with you about the Quaker man named Benjamin Lay. Benjamin Lay was one of these persons lost to history, and then an obscure scholar stumbled upon mention of him in old Quaker meeting minutes and dug a little deeper and wrote a wonderful book about Benjamin Lay. Benjamin Lay was a dwarf, born to Quaker parents in Colchester, England in 1672, some 23 years after the founding of Quakerism. He and his family eventually moved to Barbados, and while they were there, Benjamin Lay, as a young man, witnessed firsthand the horrible abuse of enslaved people, and he became an abolitionist. His family then moved to Philadelphia, where he set about irritating and infuriating his fellow Quakers with his anti-slavery speeches. This was before Quakers had determined that they would no longer hold slaves, and there were many people in Philadelphia who held slaves, and some who traded in the slave trade. We know Benjamin Lay today because of something he did while attending Philadelphia yearly meeting in 1738, when he rose to his feet holding a Bible. He withdrew from his coat a sword, which he plunged into the Bible, which contained a bladder of blood-red pokeberry juice. It was meant to resemble blood. And as he plunged the knife into the Bible, the bag burst and the pokeberry juice flew out, landing on Quakers seated nearby who also happened to be involved in the slave trade. This, as you can imagine, did not go well, especially when he cried out that the blood of the enslaved people were upon them. His punishment was swift. He was bodily removed from the yearly meeting, and the 4 Quaker meetings with whom he was affiliated disowned him. And when he died, some 21 years later, he was buried in an unmarked grave in the cemetery of Abington Friends Meeting. In 2018, 259 years after his death, Southern East Anglia Area Meeting, part of Britain Yearly Meeting, became the last of the 4 Quaker meetings to reverse his disownment. In 2011, incidentally, during the Occupy movement, the town square of Jenkinsville, Pennsylvania, was renamed the Benjamin Lay Plaza in tribute to this fine man. I do not know if we are ranked in heaven, but if we are, I am persuaded that Benjamin Lay, who cared more about justice than praise, sits in the highest rows of glory. Let's one day sit with him.
If hearts are clear, let's join in our closing hymn from the Sing Joyfully hymnal, number 68.
In times of great moral crisis, friends, we find ourselves in one of two places. We are either carrying out the dissenters or we are being carried out. Make sure always in the great human struggle for justice and mercy that you are the one being carried out. Never join together with anyone else to shut down or stifle the dissenting voice of kindness. Be carried out before you join the throng. Go in peace and turn and greet friends.